JennyBake along with JennyBake. I don't know about you, but especially in this weather, I can't think of anything nicer than sitting out in the garden with a freshly baked scone of jam and cream and a cup of tea. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to make delicious, light and fluffy scones. You will need a mixing bowl, a sieve if you have one, although it's not essential, a rolling pin, a knife, like that, just from your cutlery drawer, a cutter to cut out your scones. Now the one I've got is sort of medium size, okay, like that. You can use any size cutter that you've got. Obviously the smaller the cutter, the more scones you'll make from your mix. If you don't have a cutter, don't worry about it. I will be showing you another way of cutting up your scones later on in the video. You'll need a teaspoon, so I've got my set of measuring spoons here, but if you don't have these, just a teaspoon from your cutlery drawer will be absolutely fine. A fork or a little whisk, so I've got my whisk, but again you can use a fork from your drawer. Some kind of measuring jug. Now I've got this small plastic one here, but any kind of measuring jug will do. Okay, and our ingredients today, we're going to need 225 grams or 8 ounces of self-raising flour, 2 ounces or 50 grams of butter, sorry, the wrong one, of butter, 1 ounce or 25 grams of caster sugar, so that's caster sugar, not granulated sugar. You will need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 egg, and some milk. So this could be any milk that you've got in your fridge, doesn't matter if it's skimmed, semi-skimmed or full fat milk. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven. So for this recipe we're looking for a nice hot oven. So if you've got an electric oven, that's 220 degrees. If you have a gas oven, you want it on mark 7. So I'm just going to go and do that now. Okay, once that's done, we can get on with making our scones. So the first thing to do is to get your self-raising flour. Now I'm going to sieve mine into the bowl, but if you don't have a sieve, you can just tip it in, that's fine. So just stick that in, like so. And the next thing we're going to add is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So if you get your spoon, and what we're looking for here is a level teaspoon. So that means it's not piled up in a heap, it's sort of level with the top of the spoon. So we want 2 of those. There's 1. And 2. Next we're going to take our butter. Now this needs to be at room temperature, so you need to, I'd advise you to get out of the fridge about an hour before you want to do your bake, so that it's fairly soft. And with our butter, we're going to cut it up into little cubes so that we can mix it easily into the flour. So if you just slice it up, just little cubes. And put those into your flour, like so. Put them in. Now this way you need to make sure you've washed your hands before you get started, because we are going to use our fingers now to mix this flour and butter together. And what you need to do is you put your hands in the bowl. First of all, just gently make sure all the butter is coated in the flour, and then you gently, just, it's called rubbing in, which means that you're rubbing the butter into the flour, and you'll get a consistency like fine breadcrumbs when you've finished. Now you want to be quite gentle with this, and scones don't like to be overhandled, so you want to squeeze it together with much pressure. Just gently rub it between the tips of your fingers. So if you get your fingers in the bowl, first of all get the butter all nicely coated in the flour, and then if I just show you, just gently rub it together like so, and eventually it will turn into like a breadcrumb consistency. So just keep going with that. And it will start to, the lumps of butter will start to break down. And you just want it so there's no big lumps of butter left. You don't want to sort of press it together into clumps, because the idea is that it's all nice and loose and crummy. Just keep going. The more you do this, the more you'll get the feel for how it should be. So it's a kind of case of practice makes perfect, really. This is also a useful skill, and if later on we look at making pastry, it's the same kind of technique. Okay, so mine's done now, nearly. Got 2 little lumps left. We'll put those in. Okay, and it'll be nice and loose and crummy. Okay. Next stage, when you've done that, is to add your sugar. So take your caster sugar, dip it into the bowl, and then just with your fingers again, just mix that in so it's combined with the flour, just like that. Okay. Right, next we're going to get ready for our final stage now, and our fingers are about to get even stickier. So what I would recommend is getting everything ready that you need to roll them out now, before your fingers are too sticky to kind of touch everything. I'm just going to push that bowl aside for one moment. And what you're going to need to do is get a little bit of extra flour, and we're going to sprinkle it lightly over your work surface, so that when you're rolling out your scones they don't stick. I'm going to do that now, just sprinkle that on. Spread it out. Also get your rolling pin ready, and again I just coat that in a light dusting of flour, just like so. And we're also going to need our baking tray. I'm using my flat tray for this, and again just a tiny bit of flour sprinkled on. We don't need to grease our tray today because these scones don't tend to stick, so just a light dusting of flour will be absolutely fine. So that's everything ready for when we roll out our scones. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my bowl, and we're going to get our measuring jug or measuring container, whichever you have. And first of all, we're going to crack our egg into here. So to crack the egg, you just tap it lightly on the surface and then split it open. So that goes in. Don't forget the top tip, if you do get a little bit of shell in there, to use some of your shell to scoop it out. Okay. Now once your egg is in your measuring jug, you want to put that onto a flat surface, and we're going to pour in milk to make the whole mixture together up to 150 millilitres. So if you put that down, get your milk, and just slowly pour it in until it reaches 150. Like so. You don't need a massive amount. Okay. And then we're going to whisk the egg and milk together. So I'm going to use this little mini whisk that I have, but you can just use a fork for that. So just give it a mix until it's just combined. Like so. That's done. Okay. knife. I don't know my knife. Here it is. Okay, so if you get your knife now, and we're going to make what's called a well in the middle of our dry ingredients. And all that means, it's pretty self-explanatory really, you just make like a little hole in the middle. Just sort of spread the mixture out so there's a little hole in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to not use our fingers first of all, use a knife to mix this in. So we're going to carefully pour our milk and egg mixture into the well that we've created in our bowl and sort of mix it around with the knife. Now we're not going to need all of this, so different flours can absorb liquid in different quantities. So you might find you need to use all of it, you might find you don't need to use all of it. So what I would recommend is just putting it in bit by bit until you've got the right kind of dough. So we're going to put half to start with. So put half of your mix into your well, get your knife and just gently, really gently, start to mix that around. Okay, you'll see that it's starting to come together. You're starting to get little lumps of dough forming. Okay, but it'll still be quite dry at the moment. So now I'm going to add a little bit more of my mixture, maybe half again of what's left. Okay, and again start to bring that around. Now I don't know if you can see, but it is starting to come together more. Okay, but it's not all in one lump of dough yet. So at this stage I'm going to start to use my fingers. So just scrape off what you've got on the knife. Now it will be quite sticky, this dough. There'll be bits of it that's still dry where the flour hasn't mixed in yet with the liquid, and bits of it that are really sticky because they've absorbed more of the liquid. So we're going to put our fingers in and just gently try and squeeze it together into a dough. But again, we want to do this really carefully because, like I said before, it doesn't like to be over-handled. So we're just going to put your fingers in, and you get more of an idea at this stage whether you've added enough liquid or not. Okay, so just gently, really gently. Okay. So mine feels just a tiny bit on the dry side. So I'm going to add like a really tiny splash more. And I think that's all I'm going to need then. Okay. Right, now when it's more or less come together, it doesn't have to be totally all together because it's going to be our final stitch. We're going to tip it out onto the work surface. Okay, so I'm going to tip my mixture out. There's still a few crummy bits. And just really, really gently knead that all together until it forms a dough that you think you're able to roll out without it all falling apart. Now if you watched my bread video, I talked about kneading and you have to be quite vigorous, so this is the complete opposite. You want to be as gentle as possible. So just really gently, I do mine just by sort of turning it and really gently squeezing the dough together until you've got a soft dough, like so. Now we can start rolling. Now we don't want to roll it out too thin. That's a mistake that some people make when they make scones for the first time. They tend to roll it out treat it like pastry, but they don't actually rise a massive amount in the oven. So you do want the dough to be quite thick to start with. So I'd say to roll it out until it's just under about an inch thick. So get your rolling pin that's dusted with flour, and again really gently, don't press down too hard, just roll it out and turn it if you don't want it to stick, really gently until you get the right thickness. Right, so I think mine's about right now. Okay, and we're going to get our cutter. Now, I said earlier that I would talk you through an alternative way to cut these up if you didn't have a round cutter like this. Okay, and what you do when you're rolling it out, roll it into a rectangle and then cut it into squares like a grid, I would say 3 by 3, so you get about 9 scones from it. And you can put those on your tray and bake them, and you just have square scones, which is fine. Tastes the same. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more flour on my worktop. So get your cutter. Okay, now mine's got a fluted edge, which is a sort of wavy edge, and it's got a straight edge. So you can use either side. I quite like to use the fluted edge because it creates a really pretty scone. So just dust that in some flour. Now we're going to use it to cut out scones, and you want to push it straight down and up again. You don't want to twist it because that will make the scones kind of cook a bit sideways and go a bit wonky in the oven. So we down, give it a little shake and bring it up. It will stay stuck probably because the dough is a little bit sticky, and just gently push it out with the cutter. Okay, and place it on your tray. Now you want to space them about 2 centimetres apart, so on a tray like mine I'm looking to get about 9 scones. We keep going. Cut. Place on the tray. There we go. Now I've got about 4 out of my first lot of rolled dough. That's about as many as I can manage. So what I'm going to do now is bring the dough back together and re-roll it. But again, do this as gently as you possibly can. Don't really squeeze it together because you'll get a tough scone. It won't be nice and light and fluffy. Now the more you do this process, obviously the more you're handling the dough and the tougher they're likely to get. But as long as you're gentle, you'll be alright. So we're going to roll that out again in the same way as before. If you're doing the square ones, you don't need to do this. You can just roll it out the one time into a square and cut it up. Okay. I'm going to get my cutter again, put in some flour and keep going. Another 2, bring the dough back together. Probably this is the last time now before I'm done. Roll it out. Cutter. Put that on. Okay, so I've got 8 so far. I think I've got enough dough left here for one more little scone. So just bring that together. I don't really need to roll it out this time, just pat it down, cut it. Okay. And there we go. So that mixture should make about 9 scones if you're using a similar size cutter to mine. What's quite cute is to use a really small cutter if you've got different sizes, and you get like little mini bite-sized scones, and you'll get quite a few more. Obviously if you use a bigger cutter you're going to get less, so it just depends what size of scones you want really, or what cutters you have. Now you should have a little bit of the milk and egg combination left. I've got just a little bit left in mine. I'm going to use this to brush the top of the scones, and what that does is when you cook in the oven it gives them a really nice golden top. Okay, so I'm going to brush just a little bit on. Now I've got a pastry brush here. Okay, if you don't have one of these, make sure you've got a clean finger and you can just sort of dab it on each one. You want to make sure it just stays on the top. You don't want it all dribbling down the side because that can affect how the scones rise in the oven. So I'm just going to brush those. Doesn't need a lot, just a little bit, just to wet the top. Okay, so that's done. They're now ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to pop those in my oven and they're going to bake for 10 minutes. so I just wanted to show you some finished scones now. So these were in the oven for 10 minutes. After they came out of the oven, nice and golden and risen, I put them on a cooling rack. Now the best thing about scones is you can eat them warm, so you don't have to wait too long to enjoy what you've made. I just wanted to show you mine. So I've got some here that I've sandwiched together with jam and double cream. You could use clotted cream, whipping cream, whatever your favourite cream is. That's a bit controversial, so I've got one here that's jam with the cream on top and one that's cream with the jam on top. It's up to you which way you prefer, but I know it does spark quite a lot of discussion about what is the correct way to eat your scones. And some just to show you the whole scone. So I hope you enjoy what you've made. They are really delicious. They're best eaten fresh on the day that you bake them. Scones don't keep very well at all, so if you leave them until tomorrow, they're likely to go a little bit stale. But what they do well is freeze. So what you don't eat today, if you put them straight in the freezer as soon as they're cool enough, anytime you fancy a scone then, you can get it out of the freezer to defrost, and it'll taste fresh as the day you made them. So enjoy your scones, and hopefully I'll see you soon for another